Well, greetings and blessings to each and every one of you. I greet you with the love and the honor of the infinite creator. I am your humble host, Mr. David Null, part two, Hawkeye Two Feathers, and release before accepting. And going to try this live stream part two was, sort of in the middle, but, sort of wanted to do this other part to wrap it up a little bit. Um, but in many of the things that in just picking up where I left off in the last video, thus part two, um, we need to understand that there, first of all, if we think that there's nothing we need to release, that's where our first mistake. We need to understand where there are all at all times there are things we need to release. We need to be cognizant and aware of that. It's not that we're at fault or there's something wrong with this or anything like that. Not the point. It's that there are external things, especially now and with our lives, with the towers and the energies. And hi everybody, good to see you back. Sorry about that, but anyway, maybe I was on a topic they didn't want me to talk about much, but um uh, anyway, here I am back again to try to, continue on with this conversation because I do think it's important. But in our lifestyles now, and many folk, not so much mine because of my choice of lifestyles, but with all the energies and things running around, and I mean like electrical poles, you live in a city, you work in a place, I worked in a factory with all kinds of stuff going on, chemicals and this and that, and, lots of stuff. So machinery can affect you, the noises, and all of those things are frequencies and stuff that affect our who we are. So some certain different kinds of sounds will grate on our nerves. Some people, fingernails on a chalkboard. Oh my gosh, you know. So those types of things give us certain reactions, and in doing so, they affect us. Okay. So, yeah, a little discussion about what an effect is and how it affects us. But to the things, though, that are in the universe, there are a lot of stuff out there that we really don't pay attention to. And not for me to be a fear monger, but we need to be aware of there are other things that are affecting our psyche, our way of thinking, how we feel, the energies of the universe. We need to understand these things exist because they can and do affect us. So before we go to the doctor and ask for a pill, or before we go to the therapist and ask for another session, maybe it's just one of these natural things we need to learn how to understand on our own. That's our awareness. So by understanding that, we can release other tensions. So for every bit of awareness, you grow more um, in your awareness of what's going on around you. So, and by releasing older thoughts, maybe it's just the tensions of the cell towers around your neighborhood. And trust me, we all got them, even out here in the country. 2 miles away, there's one this way, there's one that way, there's one that way now. They're all over the place. So even me down here in the country, down at the bottom of the hill, so sort of out of the line of sight, but they're still in the neighborhood. I still have electricity to my house, and there's EMP pulses in the line. So that as long as I'm hooked up to electricity. But what about the solar stuff? What about the stuff that's hitting Mother Earth, and she's responding and has been for several days, going on a week now, in that 38 range down at the bottom of the chart when you check on the Schumann resonance. That stuff is affecting us. We need to release the tensions that those things might build up in us. Be aware that they could be. So if you're feeling a little bit out of whack, maybe going and sitting under a tree is really a good thing. Maybe going and doing something, maybe just doing something frivolous for 20 minutes might really break the chain. And it might give you the opportunity to release energy that has been coexisting within you, unbeknownst to you, So now you can accept energy that you choose to allow in because now you're aware of it. So, do these things make a difference? Absolutely. And in the total picture of our spirituality and where we need to grow, especially to understand the universe, our awareness is key in all of these things. Come on, rain. It's in the neighborhood. We really need rain. We're 14 inches deficit down here at least. But anyway, so pray for rain, y'all. If you're, send a prayer skyward. Say, please, a little more rain. Anyway, but with that said, though, so before we make the decision that nothing's bothering us, we need to say, maybe there's something bothering me I'm not aware of. Not to be the negative Nelly about this, but that's where the number one place to start. We are fallible human beings because of where we live and how we live. Nothing wrong with that, but our awareness of that is key because is the key to unlocking the secret to how do you deal with some of these weirdnesses that people are feeling and that are going on. And some of them are natural, but they're unnatural to us because it's not happened to us before in this realm. We're just now getting some of these things, these cosmic energies. Mother Earth is responding. You and me are responding. So, there aren't any books on this as to how we should deal with this. So, we deal with it in simple terms. Wait a minute. Maybe there's some little something I just need to, you know, go outside and maybe sing a big song or sing opera for 10 seconds. I don't pick something, but let that energy out, that may be pent up in some way so that new energy can come back in. And as you send it out, guess what? It's going to create not necessarily a vacuum, but you send it out. It's like breathing out, and the reflex is to breathe back in. Otherwise, you're going to pass out, right? So, but if you don't breathe out, you can't breathe in. And if you only go, you hyperventilate. So, but if you can go, whoosh, and release the air and take a big deep breath in, what are you doing? You're doing the same thing. You're releasing that old air in you, and you're bringing in hopefully new fresh air. Same thing with the spirit. So you can find your own way to do it, but breathe with your spirit. So you're releasing it like exhaling whatever toxins or things or carbon monoxide that's in our lungs that need to get out so the air can come in and hopefully help us breathe and stay alive. But so that with that though, so we do so with the spirit. But first the release or the exhale, if you will, which kind of makes a little bit more sense than release. But in exhaling, you are releasing. So I wish I'd have thought about exhaling before I wrote release in the in the description. But to the point, though, in trying to go back on the previous video, but to bring this in a good circle about this, it as I always say, and if you notice in life, things come full circle, one way or the other. So, if you understand that the circle is going to exist, then you can kind of predict or see what the outcome may be, especially your influence upon it. So, if you can kind of foresee because of your experience and because you are breathing in and out with your spirit, you're releasing those whatever cosmic toxins we may ingest spiritually that we need to breathe out so that we can breathe in more good energy. Everything else breathes. Trees do, shrubs do, leaves breathe. So we breathe, fish breathe, water and so all critters at one way or the other, some critters absorb, oxygen through their skin, okie dokie. But in all essences and all ways, we're all exchanging, we're breathing, letting it in, letting it out, exchanging. So we need to keep that basic thought in mind because it is important. Whether maybe you've been holding your breath spiritually. Think about that one. Just just consider it because you know me, as my job, I'm supposed to bring up the little quirky things in the brain like, wait a minute, are you holding your breath spiritually? What the hell is he talking about now? What? Yeah, let's talk about this one. But there are some people, and I say, there are folks that I see that it seems like they're stuck on the road. They're not making any progress. They're repeating the same things. It's almost like they like being in a rut. They're just spinning their wheels. They're on the right road, but man, I'm sorry, but it just doesn't seem like they've made any progress. Why do they have to keep going over the same old with the same tone of voice or the same rhetoric, the same words over and over? Because they're stuck. Maybe they're holding their breath spiritually. Hey, Michelle, how are you? Good to see you back. Sorry about the delay thingy, but I just said, yeah, let's try over. And I said, we love you, Bob, twice. So, we have to send our regards out to Bob. And a good time for a coffee break and to offer Bob some fresh coffee. So thank you, Bob. We appreciate you letting us come back on. But so one of the things that I've noticed that, for example, with you all in the chat room and those folks that interact and send comments in a way that in your expressions and in our conversations, you are exhaling, if you will. So you are releasing because you've had thoughts, you've had things, you've had whatever. And, then I bring up these odd topics once in a while for y'all to contemplate and think about. And, like, Dave's come up with another weird one. But, that's by paying attention to the universe to say, well, you know what? Maybe there are people that are holding their breath spiritually. And you're not going to get very far if you're holding your breath. So maybe we need to do that exhale. But so like y'all in the chat room and other folks in other places too, not just here, but it is an expression of pouring our spirit out. So that in a lot of ways, that's how we accept the energy from other people. We're in part of my prayer tonight, I included you guys, by the way, and said, that all of my friends and all of those that we come in contact with, our prayers go up on this sacred, because y'all want peace on this earth too. So your prayers went with it tonight. And I didn't name you individually, but y'all got drug into the ceremony because I know that that you all have already said you would approve, but I just said, all the members of the League of Like-Minded Beings. So that meant you guys and gals. But with that, though, in that we're breathing life into the universe. I share it with y'all because it's like it's a powerful place, and we want this to shine light into the universe and to help Mother Earth to heal and be a protector, in the natural grid of things, if you will, from an old and ancient site that we're resurrecting. And so it's like we're all on that side because we're all like-minded beings in that we want Mother Earth to heal, and anything that we can do, especially when it's relatively simple. We had to chop down and burn a quarter acre of forest, not a shrub. It really needed burned. It really did. But to reclaim some of the area. But in doing so, Spirit was kind and said, here, put this over here, and here you go. And there were a lot of synchronicities, like the fire started to go out, and about the time I was going to place a rock, the fire, started back up again. And it's sort of part of my prayer. I put enough twigs and things for this small fire because it was happening right at sundown. as I started the ceremony. And I was like, the spirit said, "Don't worry about the fire. Just concentrate on doing the ceremony." Yeah, okay. So about the time it would get dark, and there was no flame, I'm thinking to myself, it'd be nice if it flamed back up again. Sure enough, within a minute, the flame would come back up in the fire, and I could place the rock, and it was very interesting. So, and that happened 4 times. So it's like, it's a little bit more than coinky dink. You know what I'm saying? When you notice things like this, but it's also the awareness of it. And I can honestly say that 10 years ago, if I would probably not have noticed that, the coinky dink, because my awareness would have been a little too, small umbrella, if you will. And so I'm thinking to myself, so in, yes, my road is different than other folks's. And sometimes I'm really god dog dense, that's the many times I'm hitting the head. But, to pay attention. But, the more I pay attention and the more I bring back what I lost those many years with being in the wheelchair and so forth, I've recovered, and I'm recovering more than I had before. But I notice it now quite humbly, because I'm like, wow, I didn't know that my umbrella got bigger, Holy crap, I thought it was like just this big, and now it's like a full-fledged umbrella to keep the rain off of you. So in that respect, so I'm humbled by the fact that, wow, I really have made a little bit of progress. Even looking at my own life and what I've learned about ceremonies. Oh wow. I now notice more at the same time than I did 5 years ago or 10 years ago, because I'm more aware. I have released my old self, my old beliefs. Well, I can't think of 4 things at one time. Oh, yeah, you can. But you got to take yourself out of the picture. You have to allow it to happen. The ceremony, the words will come. If your intent spiritually is correct, the words will flow from your mouth, from the universe, and asking prayers. This particular medicine wheel that we established was set to the north because there are spirits that reside in the north, and this particular energy needs that the guidance of the north. So its intent was and asked first to the north: watch over, guide this, help us, protect it, send energy here, please. We wish this to be an energy spot, to help Mother Earth and the universe and so forth. Okay. Versus east, south, west, another direction. All right. So, but with that, so the intention was, so whether you believe that there are actually critters that live in the north, that's not the point. The point is that you give honor. Now, I want the north and the North Star and the direction and the thing and the energy, so I'm asking for direction. So somebody say, well, you were talking to the gods of such and such. No, not really. I'm asking the universe, I'm not praying to the sun, but I'm thanking the spirits that the sun comes up and that the sun goes down. And I even said so in the prayer. Thank you for the sun going down, because those critters that are awake during the daytime, being aware of these things, releasing the energy, all of the daytime critters get to take a rest and relax, while the nighttime critters come out and it's their time to be. And so, in that, many of us are these nighttime beings. I've always worked second or third shift, so this is normal for me. But to other people, no, they, middle of the night, you people are crazy, But 6 a.m. they're up and they're doing stuff, and I'm like, I'm just going to bed good, but not all the time, but many times. But to the point of the conversation, though, if our awareness is such that, wait a minute, maybe I am holding my breath spiritually, maybe I'm just not aware of it, maybe I'm just like, holy crap. Let's see, In learning how to do scuba diving many years ago, there are times when you put this thing in your mouth and you don't breathe through your nose. So you're breathing through your mouth and you have to breathe regularly. Okay. Plus you got a regulator on your back. But one of the things that I had trouble with, and they warn you when learning how to do scuba diving, that don't hold your breath. So, I'd take some in, and I was always used to like free diving with a snorkel, and you'd take a good breath in and go down and play around. You can't do that with scuba gear. You have to breathe in a rhythm. So, and I would have to listen to the thing go, so, and because I would hold my breath. And you can't do that. You'd get stuff in your lungs and the air pockets. And anyway, not good. So, but spiritually, maybe, as I became aware of, holy crap, I got a tank in my back and I'm holding my breath again. I had to be aware of that. Spiritually, maybe, I'm not saying you folk, but maybe all of us are. And we're just not aware that we're holding our breath. And sometimes we just need to exhale. Not necessarily that it's negative energy. We just may need to exhale for God's sakes so we get some more in. That's all. It doesn't have to be about negative, but it does have to be that things do oscillate. There's a high wave, show wave, high wave. So what is that? The universe is breathing. So are we breathing spiritually or are we holding our breath? I can't answer that one, but it is a consideration. And even and I always say, I am a shaman in training. So tonight's ceremonies and so forth, even though I followed tradition, I still learned that, oh my goodness, there's a little more awareness to this. There's a little more to, from my point of view, from how I did it 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago, and looking at it now going, whoa, boy, things are similar, but boy, have they changed in a very good way because I was able to focus on the main thing, but also keep the other things in mind at the same time. Wow. And pay attention to the fire and be aware of this and be aware of tones. And I was using my ancient Chinese bells as part of the ceremony, and when to use the drum, when to use the drum and the bells, how to use the bells, what direction to go in. I mean, all these things are simultaneous, and if I'd have stopped to think about them, I couldn't have done them. But you have to allow the awareness to happen. I've come all this way with all this training. I allow my knowledge to come out and breathe so that the ceremony can take place as a natural thing. So, for each rock that was placed, for example, I offered sage and the smoke of the sage to bless this rock, to help me place the rock in the correct position, in the correct direction. I used the smoke of the fire, and I used because it was blessed and delegated that I used the smoke from the sacred fire to bless each of these rocks before I placed them. I asked the spirits to guide to guide my hands and my thoughts so that I would place the rock correctly, and I did that with each of the rocks. So, so there was ceremony for each one of these rocks, but and also there was ceremony in producing the sacred fire, which means that I blessed it and I did ceremony. I offered sage and tobacco and prayers before I started placing the rocks or trying to use the fire to bless the rocks before I placed them. So there is protocol. So you do a couple of things first, and I kind of skipped over one, and they kicked me in the ribs and wouldn't let me go any farther. You are supposed to sage first, and then tobacco as the sacred herb. As so, first you use sage to bless the area, and then the next is you're giving thanks and an offering to the spirits in all the four corners, up and down into the to the inside. And so all of these spirits, you thank them, thank them, thank them, thank them with smoke and also with bits of tobacco placed in the fire, tossed in the fire, with respect and honor in the direction that you're honoring, and to the ancients that reside in each of these realms, if you will. And so, in doing so, you honor all of the realms, and so that gives strength to the ceremony, and that's all it is. You say thank you to the north, thank you to the south, to the east, and to the west, and all the spirits that reside there in any realm, in any dimension, in any universe. It doesn't just mean here on earth. It just means in those four corners, and the up and the down and the inside, which is within us all, the spirit which resides within us all, which is creator. Actually, it's that source energy that each one of us, contain, that we have. So in the ceremony, so I've offered all these things with the smoke and with the fire, and with drum and with bells and with a little dance. It's a little rough to try to get in that terrain, which I will fix. But it was more about how the placement of the stones went. But around the sacred fire that I built tonight, um, I did go around it as was necessary with each rock. I offered each rock up to the universe, and I said, please help me to place this rock. Take blessing upon this rock, and may the universe receive my intent upon this rock and how I place it. And so then I just follow the intuition, and there I had to do some tweaking, gotta say. So I put, they liked the spot on the ground, but had to move them a certain way to get them to their energies to line up. And so, it took a little while, but it didn't take any time at all, actually. But I had to listen to the rocks. I had to listen to my own intuition. But I noticed that I was trying, had become part of the experiment, and I had left my role as observer and tried to participate. And they were like, well, it looks good. That's not where we're after, Dave. We're after how does it feel, Hawkeye. Oh, I went into a Dave mode there for a little bit, and I realized, whoops, sorry, it was close, but but no pickle. They weren't lined up energetically. But anyway, but so, and through my years of wisdom, accepting, receiving, I realized, wait a minute, I kind of got myself involved in this. I was looking when I should have been. I was looking with these two eyes when I should have been paying attention with this, and my feelings and my intuition versus my two eyeballs. Oh, that looks good. Nah, I can't do that. Got to feel your way around this and go, okay, how does it feel to the earth, its contact, its distance to the other stones? How does it feel? What is the orientation? And it had to be tweaked. But when I got done, I sat there and went, okie dokie. And then Breaking Dawn, she was there as well. And it was I said, pretty much they say, leave it alone. Don't touch it. We like it the way it is. So it's like, well, job well done. Otherwise, I would have still been tweaking it, if following those intuitions. But in doing so, it's like, I still feel comfortable with how the stones were placed. But now, after all these years, it's taken me a lot of awareness of other things, not of myself, but of the natural things and how they helped me to place those rocks on Mother Earth because I asked them to. Use me. I'm the vehicle. You guys, kind of etherical. It's hard for you guys to really come down here and move rocks. That's my job. And so, but with good intent, and gotta say, I hope I done good. They're happy with it. That stress, I'm back to the release. I'm bringing this conversation all the way back around. The release of my own anxiety to try to get this done on time and to do a good job. And God, I hope I picked the right ones. And I hope the energy lines up. And I hope you guys are happy when I'm through. Meaning, So, but so and now that it's down there, I can go. Whew, I'm taking a deep breath spiritually, and I'm releasing that tension. Now, a lot of it, I got to say, I brought upon myself because I sometimes I'm not sure. I'm unsure of myself. Do you really want me to do this down there with those rocks? And you want me to do what? Oh, now, of all my years of understanding and learning, I realize, guess what? This is one of these tests. Can you honestly and truly, me talking about myself, take myself out of this situation and just listen? And it's not like they're going, all right, now you better do it this way, Hawkeye, or we're going to kick your boot. No, they're more like, put it over here, please. Over here, a little further, little, not, little more. No, bend it a little. Now, they may be, and I use the phrase kick me in the shins or the butt to get something done because there is sort of a spiritual deadline. In other words, in order for this energy to really get kicked in with these rocks that I placed, it's full moon, though I can't see it and it's cloudy overhead. So in order for this thing to like really get energized, do it now. Another day or two later, not going to be the same. So did they kick me around a little bit to go down there tonight and do that? Yeah. But I've had years of preparation to do this. And the big test again this time, and now I'm becoming more comfortable with it, is allowing what they're asking me to do, to just allow. It's not like there's anything spooky. It's this that rock there, not that one. What that one looks really cool. No, sorry, we want you to pick up that one. Okay, and trusting it. And once I put it together down there, it feels pretty good. So we'll see. I don't have a gauge or anything to like say, wow, I put a bunch of rocks in the woods and look what it's. I don't have that, but I can say that it feels good, and the spirits are calm and like, okay, next mission, here we go. And if nothing else, my intent, our intent, Breaking Dawn was there as well to help guide and push things along as a backup, or not a backup. That's the wrong word. I was making a thing about a director and assistant director. That's really not the same thing either. But you're both working on the same thing. So, but anyway, thank you, Breaking Dawn, for your help and energy to help. Make the ceremony and the energy that we put forth to be worthwhile. But anything that we do for Mother Earth with good intent, especially when we follow age-old traditions and protocols, which is just simply honoring, nature, the natural order of things. So the four cardinal points: uh, up, down, and inside. Pure of heart as much as can. And I said so early on in the prayer. I said, "Here I am. I am Hawkeye Two Feathers. I come in peace, and in peace I will leave. I bring peace, and my intent is peaceful, and I wish to bring peace and harmony to this place." And so, that's the first thing that you do is you introduce, even though it's my property, I still, every time I do a ceremony, I introduce myself to the spirits. And I say to any of the spirits or entities living here in other realms or that may coexist here, I bring peace. And any entity, especially of the light, is welcome here. Any entities that may be happen to have but wish to convert to the light, you're welcome here. And any entities that are dark entities, I ask you to honor sacred traditions and honor that this is uh, uh, um, a ceremony of light and not of darkness, and for you to honor our sacred place here and to just back off, you know, and to honor our right to do it, which is kind of like, what? Even evil spirits have a negative side. They got honor as well. So, and if you ask them, rather than, and I gotta say, one of the lessons I learned was in the past I try to demand that these spirits stay away. Ooh, that got me in trouble for years. Don't do that. So, but I can absolutely suggest and say, listen, this is for the, you got, you can stay over there, but honor this place through your honor as I would honor your spot, honor our sacred place here. So, okie dokie. But now one could say, well, who are you praying to? The universe. Were you worshiping anything, Hawkeye? Nuh-uh. Honor, respect to the universe. And it just so happens it's the four cardinal places, up, down, and inside. Sacred tradition. So if you follow it, then maybe that's a good thing, because you're opening up areas in your own awareness that it's this way, this way, this way, and this way, regardless of what lives there or may reside there or not. Doesn't matter. You're giving honor. So in doing so, you're sending your intent in all four directions. So whether you believe in the up and the down spirits, okay, but you're giving honor and you're sending energy in all directions. And what it ends up being is sort of like a globe of energy, sort of like a geodesic dome, kind of. And then you take that energy and you say also with all these other directions, also the inside and to the spirit, which is part of all things. So those traditions are simple. It doesn't require any killing or anything. Did burn a little bit of sage, which is, in honor. Tobacco, same thing, in honor. And so these sacred traditions. Now, do I think they work? Over the years, I've tried to not do it. I've tried different realms, things, stuff, and I am still drawn back to the same. And it feels so organic to me. It is organic. The only thing fake in there was my lighter to light the sage with, which shame on me if they had really good wooden matches anymore, I wouldn't be using the lighter. But anyway, but everything is as natural as possible, and so are the prayers. Now, in releasing the negative, and for me, it was the stress of getting this done and hoping to do a good job. Stress that I put upon myself. I reiterate. Thank you guys. I know I put it upon myself, but they were, pushing me to get this done. But now I can say, wow, guess what? I did it again. I made my own stress. Where did it get me? I was holding my breath. Now I got this chore done. This part of the mission is over. Now, to any 72s out there that may have watched this far in, we got back at 7 o'clock. It started raining, and I looked at the clock, and it was 2 o'clock. 7-2. There were several things that sort of gave us angel messages, if you will. And so it's proof to us as we observe them at certain times when things occur that the numbers don't lie. I mean, it started raining at 2 o'clock. We got home back out of the woods after the ceremony, 7 o'clock. Okay, coincidence, not when everything else is at play here. So now one could say, well, that's just a shaman thing, but it's also more than that. Now I can't vouch for the angels, but and I can only vouch for that which I have experienced. But I know there are spiritual beings that watch us and guide us and help us. And there are many old things and ancient things that we are learning that are still good for Mother Earth. And I still feel that I'm being guided by these angels, spirits, to make sure that these protections or our prayers or the next thing coming up is going to be like a mini Stonehenge around here with some of these. Some of these rocks are pretty big. It's going to be hard for me to move them, but with the will of the Creator and that inner strength, I'll get them moved down there to the woods. But to the point, though, it's important now after all these years. Why do I have these rocks? Oh, for landscaping. Not really. Now there is a need and a purpose for me to put them. And after almost 36 years of me being here, I mean, I've got rocks from North Georgia, all over Georgia, North Georgia especially, the Carolinas, North South Carolina, in the western, in from Tennessee. I've got rocks from up in Kentucky, Arkansas, and so these rocks now are going to be brought together in a medicine wheel, maybe several, so that our intent and our prayers can be to help Mother Earth. And one could say, well, why would you waste your time? And I'd say, why not? Many people would say, well, that just sounds like a bunch of craziness. Maybe so. But if I put my prayers and intent into these rocks, and I use these rocks for prayers, and maybe some of the prayers could be for you all, or an individual, or for all of us, for the League of Like Minded Beings. And y'all were included, as I said earlier. I threw y'all into the mix with the ceremony tonight. All my friends and all of those at Like Minded League of Like Minded Beings, we send our energy and our prayers with this sacred fire and this smoke, that these energies and these rocks will be used to heal the earth. So you guys are involved in this too. But is this fake? Is it real? Do we really believe? I, my point of view on this, and I will tell you that where our intention is to just get better, to understand it more. I got a bunch of rocks I'm gonna have to move. Some of these things are like this big, no lie. So it's a pretty good ways down to the clearing, and you got to go through the woods. So we got to make the trail better. We got to put it on the cart. I mean, it's going to be a chore. It ain't like it's going to be there. I wish I was that good, but there's a lot to be said for the preparation. And I said something earlier to Breaking Dawn. I said, uh, you know, um, as far as a ceremony is concerned, you must be ready for the ceremony before the ceremony begins. And one, you might look at me and go, now that's some crazy stuff there, Hawkeye. But you must be prepared for the ceremony before the ceremony begins. So the ceremony starts before the ceremony begins. So in other words, if I'm thinking about having a ceremony, I'm thinking of it ahead of before I have it. So I'm already like, okay, should I drum? Should I do this? Should I wear my regalia? Should it be a big fire? Should it be down over here? Should I pick a new place? Should I go to the river and do the ceremony? So, and then I realized, okay, well, maybe it's just going to occur over here. There, you follow the instinct if you can. But so but the ceremony starts before you start the ceremony. Is that an oxymoron? No, it's true. And preparation for the ceremony always starts before the ceremony. And you go, well, wait a minute. So the first thing you do when you start thinking about the ceremony and getting ready for it is you start putting your positive intent in right then. You don't wait until the time of the ceremony when you've collected everything The proper way to do it is to start, well, I'm going to have a ceremony. Creator, guide my hands, my thoughts, give me the wisdom to do this correctly. First thing you do, whoops, gonna have one. Give me. So the first thing you do is ask for guidance and make sure that you do this the right way. Whoops. Okay. So now that you've established that, see, you've already started with a prayer. You've already started the ceremony with a ceremony, if you will. Okay. So then from that point, then it develops. You're going to bring sage and this. So as you gather these things, now I've always got a prayer with my drum and with my the crystals and things that I use on a regular basis. So they're kind of like included in a prayer. They're already. I don't have to. Now I always sage them if I use them, so that they're clean from this point on. I say sage my regalia, and said out loud any previous energy from any previous ceremony, because I don't want to bring any other ceremony into the one I did today. So I put sage around my regalia and spoke out loud any not negative, but any energies left over from previous ceremonies I wish to wash away and allow the energy from this ceremony to take its place. So I'm breathing. So I'm allowing my regalia. I'm regarding before I ever hit the woods, I'm already sending these prayers into the ceremony. This is pre-ceremony. But my intent, my prayers, I'm asking for guidance the whole way along. You know, you know, uh, help me make sure I say the right words. Help me make sure my intent stays pure. Which there's not really anything to deter that, but it's in the conscious prayer of saying it. It keeps your intent pure. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're reinforcing it. So, but in doing all of these things, you have to release some of this stuff to take that breath back in. So I got certain things ready, looked around the house, said, time to go outside. Deep breath out, suck one in, trip to take the rocks down to the circle, take another, get things down there, let out, take a deep breath out, another breath in, start the ceremony and position things, take a deep breath out, light the fire and take a deep breath in, start the ceremony. So in all of these things, there is a release and then a deep breath again to like a next phase. But it's also in the nature of energies and waves and oscillations. It's also natural. So if we follow it and we allow ourselves to do this, if we allow ourselves to be aware of these natural things, boom, release it. Not as a negative, but we can't hold our breath. That's the point. You hold your breath, negative, drowned in your own not breathing. Well, that's not drowning, that's suffocating. But anyway, and I cannot see how some people get off on that. Just saying. But to the point of reality and of the universe, there's always something to consider. When I think I understand something, and I did, there's always something else to be learned and to be observed if your awareness is there. Now, it may sound like I'm tooting my own horn, but I was telling Deb earlier, I said, I have to look back on, quote, this performance, this ceremony, in regards to previous ceremonies, because I got to see if I've made if I've made any progress. Am I in the same spot? Also, have I followed the protocol? Have I followed the natural things that I learned all those years ago? Am I still doing the things that need to be done? Now, it's not the same words, but it is the same offering: sage, tobacco, my prayers. Sometimes it's water, sometimes it's something else, sometimes it's another herb, but it's always with positive intent. So, but do I follow in the order? Do I use north, south, east? Do I do the yes? So that hasn't changed, except how in my intent is towards each of those. Before, and I can look at myself now, got to be honest, and look back then and go, holy crap, was I a novice or what? I was stumbling over words and I wasn't sure of myself. And now I allow the Spirit because I've had the practice, I've had the awareness, I'm not holding my breath anymore. And I'm allowing the Creator to speak, or angel self to speak to the universe with simple, positive prayers. Well, does it work? I feels pretty good to me. I wish I could report to you all that, oh my God, there's this great big, blue light down there in the woods now where we put the rocks. But yeah, there seems to be something down there now after putting those rocks down there tonight. So we'll report more later on that. But for yourselves, though, if you ever get to the point where you say, well, there ain't nothing more, yeah. Oh, shame on you. Shame on me, for, that I learned that lesson a long time ago. But I've noticed some folks, they're stuck in that rut deal. Maybe we should just consider maybe they're just holding their breath spiritually. Hmm. Are they afraid to bring in more energy? Are these folks afraid to breathe in new life from the universe? Or are they just going to hold their breath on like the same topic or the same, you know, there's still folks are going on and on and on about the Anunnaki. Okay, we get it. Why must you every 3 or 4 weeks bring the god dog subject up again? Please discuss something else, will you? Do you have a one-track mind? Just saying. It's okay. All right, but it ain't enough. Can we, me, I'm always trying to pick um, a, a slightly different twist on something. How many people talk about exhaling their spirit, for example? I haven't come across any yet. Not to say that there aren't, but to look at something from a different point of view. And I kind of excel in that one, you know, in that, I can look at stuff from upside down and inside out. But anyway, because it's actually fun for me to look at stuff and go, but that's how I've gotten to help for my own self to understand the universe and to get this other awareness. So if I create a box to think out of, or if there's a box anyway, then there's a construct. And then when I realize, wait a minute, don't need a box. Wait a minute, don't need that. Wait a minute, oh, holy crap. Your awareness grows, and so does your perception of things. And so does your spirit because you feel different. And you can try to explain it to others and you go, well, how do you feel about that? Well, I understand. And crap, I don't know how to explain it to you. Yeah, but I just feel different. I feel more alive. You know, there are a lot of folks that just have trouble describing. And to the point, how do you explain that you feel more spiritually aware? Well, that's why part of this conversation, but in in as a director and an actor, you always go, and I hate to classify my the ceremony as a performance, but in a way, it is, in that I want to make sure that I performed all the correct things during the ceremony. So, but anyway, so I want to look at it and critique myself and say, okay, well, you could have done that sooner. You almost forgot that, and yeah, okay. But at the same time, I could also understand that I could see the rocks individually, but also focus on all four of them. But and then one, I discussed this early on. But so in that self-realization, I I I understand a bigger awareness. Now, how in the hell do you explain that? How do you explain that feeling? holy crap, I just reached another bit of awareness. Now, was it a big jump or a big leap? Well, I'll let you know. But it is a difference. So I can say I have made progress because I understand a little more than I did previously. So am I stuck? God, I hope not. You know, but I can look at my own and go, wow. Is it an improvement? Ain't claiming that. Okay. But is it different? Yes. Could I understand more things at the same time? Yes. Was I more focused? Yes. Did I get most of it right? 95% of it, yes. Was it easy? Did it flow? Yes. Oh, wow. So I'm like, not bad. But for what I can learn from this is that I'm going to do better the next time, because it's not the confidence, but it is because I listened and I had faith in self. And I say, thumbs up, guys. Cheers. More positive things to Mother Earth and prayers for peace upon this planet and to the universe. And through these rocks and through these simple formations on the ground with Mother Earth, with simple prayers, got to start somewhere, right? So I hope this has been the least bit enlightening. And I thank you all for hanging out at 4 something in the morning. Um, Brandy, holy crap, somebody's shots are fired. Oh man, hope not. Lady Spitfire's got to run. Mary wins if you're there. Blessings. Michelle, as always. Brandy, God, I hope there's nobody hurt. I had a house burned down, and waking up and seeing the house on fire, and it was about this time of year too. It was late November, around the 2 days before Thanksgiving. So, but yeah, there's still nightmares of the house being on fire and waking up to that. But Brandy, Lady Spitfire, Michelle, I want to go back up here, make sure, give her Mary wins. Kudos to all y'all. I'm saying. Lady Spitfire said way back when, may you see the rain I've been craving today. Absolutely. And Mary wins to everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Jody, absolutely. Thank you. Thumbs up with that. And by the way, we'll send you information on it. Maybe thank you, Michelle. I do this not for praise. I do this because, I in teaching you, I learn about myself. In try, well, I say teach. Maybe it's more of just a helpful instruction along the way. But to boast or brag is like, that's not supposed to be on the list of things. Being humble about what you do, but at the same time, have to be able to discuss it in an honest and truthful manner, because in that, what I have experienced and breaking down as well, you know there is healing for all of us in the sharing of it. So God forbid that I sound like, wow, look, he did a good job, but thank you for the compliment. I always strive to try to do the best for Mother Earth and for those things. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And actually, I got home and we were sitting here after we got back to the house, and I was like, I got this thing. I started clapping. I said, they actually clapped for us this time. I was like, whoa, they're like, of course we clap, but anyway, um, but to the point though, a job well done. And I'm not looking for kudos. I don't want gold stars. I just want to do a good job. That's all. That's my reward, to do the best that I can do, whether anybody's watching or not. And so if I hadn't told you about this, y'all wouldn't know that we spent, I've spent many hours and many days in contemplation and downloads and understanding from higher self, etc. And the many hours we spent down there cleaning up the place to be able to do this. So there's been a lot of preparation in this, and forethought and prayer and meditation. We just didn't go down there and go, oh, here's a couple of rocks. Here you go. No, there was a lot of effort put into this, and there will be more effort put into it later on. But if I hadn't discussed it with you, nobody would know but us. So it's like, so what is our motivation? It's not to like get kudos. Well, you guys did a really good job down there. No, our main purpose was to place these rocks on Mother Earth so that we could do prayers and our intentions and etc. So, and unless we have a lot of helicopters that fly over sometimes. When we get done with all these rocks and everything, they're going to fly over and think, oh my God, aliens have landed. There's crop circles down there. Or wait a minute, those are rock circles. Who put that shit down there in the woods? Thinking about them crazy helicopter pilots. But it ought to be interesting from the air when we get through with this. But to the point, who else is going to know? So what is our motivation? It can't be for fortune or fame. You know what I mean? It's not for recognition or kudos. It's because of our intent. So you can go in the backyard and do the same thing. Pick a couple of crystals, pick a rock. Just allow yourself to choose the things that are necessary. And it may be something else the next time. But if your intent is true, and it doesn't have to be anything great or special, but if you put your intent into it and say, you know what, I'm going to use this rock as part of one of I'm going to create a little circle of stones. And these stones are going to represent certain things for me. This is going to be the North Stone, and it's going to represent strength. And this is going to be the East, and it's going to represent all things, the rising and hope for the future. And West is going to be those things and the wisdom of the past that we can see. And the South is going to bring it. So you do these things. They could be little pebbles. They could be marbles. They could be your imagination, which is where my brain's been for about the last month, trying to get this thing done today. Didn't know it was today till they kicked me hard enough. But I'm glad I did. I'm glad that part is finished and on to the next step of this. But anyway, thank you all. I honestly mean that. And you know, I say, uh, in remind yourself. It's not for my. Remind yourself. Am I holding my breath or am I breathing? Spiritually, mentally, physically, are we holding our breath? And so make sure that you are conscious of that. Wait, maybe I need to take a breath here. Out, sometimes in. Either way, make sure that you're breathing spiritually. Keep up the good work. Brandy, love y'all. Gotta go as well. Thank you. I'm proud of all of. Yes, Michelle, I'm proud of all of y'all. And like I said, I drug you into the prayer tonight about the League of Like-Minded Beings. I drug y'all into the prayer. So, but the thing is that, and I know you've said so in the past that many of you said, I could include you. But as a person who's already a member, of course, why wouldn't I include all of the like-minded beings in this spiritual prayer to heal the earth? I mean, it at the time I was like, well, am I doing something without their permission kind of thing? And I was like, no, because some of the information I'm getting are from beings who are part of the League of Like-Minded Beings. The angels are part of this too, and these other spirits. So it's like, we're all kind of together. So they're guiding me to do this. So guess what? you know, yeah, we're already a part of it. So you were already included before I started it. You know what I mean? It's sort of the the ceremony starts before the ceremony begins. It, it is a little strange, but as soon as the thought starts, that's when our prayer begins for the ceremony. however small. And it could be, spur of the moment. I think I'll go out in the yard and light a candle. That's okay. So then you say, well, I'm sending up a prayer. I'm going to go outside and I'm going to focus and I'm going to light a candle and I'm going to think good thoughts. Your prayer starts right there. See? So you walk out in the yard, you make the walk. I'm walking out here. I'm going to bring good intent with me. I bring peace to where I'm going to sit down and burn the candle. So if you do the whole thing with intent, which was when we were carrying the rocks down, I said, it's important. Deb was carrying one of the rocks, and I said, it's important that we go the same trail. And it's not how fast or slow or who goes first, but we both it's the path of how the rocks get there. They just all got to go the same way. Fast or slow, close or it doesn't matter, but they to because the prayer is along the path. So it's just to follow the prayer, to keep the prayer going, to make sure that the prayer doesn't go astray left or right. That's all. To keep the synchronicity of the original intent all the way through with everything that is required for that ceremony. So, anyway, so blessings to all of you. Happy Friday the 13th. Turn it into a lucky number. And, if you got to watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre number 13, have a good day. I love you all, I do. But cramps, absolutely got them. And until next time, my friends, I we do love you. I love you as well. And you are always in my prayers and with good intent. So thank you for what you do. Kudos to you. Thumbs up and cheers to all of y'all. There was a lot of 72 messages in what we did today. Don't necessarily understand the full meaning of it, but they were there for us and just passing it along to you guys. So I'll close with the prayer, release, and then accept and receive the prayers, the healing, the wisdom, and the knowledge from the universe. I continue to pray that each and every one of you will accept and receive those healings, the knowledge, all of your relatives, your friends, your neighbors, and all of your relations, past, present, and to come. I pray that each and every one of you will accept, receive, and to continue to share those healings, the knowledge, and the blessings of the universe. So, with that, have a good weekend coming up. Be safe, be strong, and always be compassionate. And remember, those little things we do add up to great things. So, until next time, South Georgia, cloudy weather, a little bit of rain. Send us some more rain, Lord, please. And TTFN, Hawkeye out. Thank you, Breaking Dawn, as always, and the rest of you in the chat and all of your comments. Thank you. Till next time, TTFN.